So at this point, I think we have to talk a little bit about media relations. So we're going to invite Francine Walker to come up here and talk to us about social media and media relations, because I'm sure this is something that you all are wondering in terms of what you can actually do or not do in your sections and what the bar is doing. So Francine is sort of the wizard of media, and we will let her describe all that.
So I am the Director of Public Information and Bar Services for the Florida Bar. And that means that one of my primary responsibilities, other than general communications, is media relations. And I'm really happy to say that we have an excellent media relations program here at the bar. We do a considerable amount of intake of questions and requests for information from reporters. And there's where we need your help. And we couldn't do it without the sections and the section leaders. The calls we get from reporters are often questions that just require a legal expert. Often, sometimes just background even on an issue. So as long as I've been here, which is 16 years, our primary referral for reporters who have questions is to determine what section or what type of law the question falls under and refer them to the chair and chair-elect of the sections. We hope you'll welcome this opportunity because I think it helps you promote your section and your section's expertise. Certainly, the other thing we tell reporters is if the section chair or chair-elect doesn't know the answer or isn't comfortable discussing the matter, he or she will know who is because of your section expertise and because of your committees often. So we do really appreciate when we have an opportunity to send a reporter your way. We do ask them to let you know that we've referred them to you from my department, and we also are available to you all if you have questions before you either return the reporter's call or if you have any questions about what the reporter's asking, or if you just want to say, Francine, you gave him a bum lead. This isn't something that our section would cover. So in your handbook, you'll have phone numbers to our department, phone numbers for me, for our media line, and for myself. Also in your materials are media interview tips. So they start with when a reporter calls. We suggest that you collect this information yourselves or have your assistant collect it. So who is the reporter and what type of publication is he or she working for? When and where will the story appear? What's the angle? Who else is being interviewed? What's the reporter's deadline and the callback number? And then my little note below that is, who are you speaking for? I just want to remind you that when you do speak to a reporter, that you get in as frequently as possible without becoming sound like a parrot, but that you say, well, in the trial law section, we have this committee, or in the young lawyers division, we have this project. So we want to make sure you're getting your section name, your expertise out there when you talk on behalf of the section. Technically, you're not talking on behalf of the bar, the Florida Bar. The spokesperson for the Florida Bar is the president. But again, that's on Florida Bar issues, Florida Bar matters, Florida Bar policy. When it comes to reporters looking for sources or resources about stories that they're doing, again, we feel that you all are the best experts, or you have access to the best experts. And we think it can affect your section very positively to participate in these types of interviews. I've given you some tips about during the interview. First, again, take the information or ask your assistant to take the information about the reporter's inquiry. Give yourself an opportunity to give it some thought and return the call. Don't feel put on the spot. And certainly don't feel that you've been taken by surprise. That's one of the reasons I am invited to come and talk at the Section Leaders Conference, to let you all know that these are things we're sending your way. I've got a few other tips in here. They're pretty straightforward. Obviously, I just talked about being prepared and unrushed. Feel free to use notes or talking points. Use the organization's name repeatedly, and use we. We in this section are the ones who have this expertise and knowledge of the type of case that you're trying to cover. We give advice in the public relations world to speak in headlines. So that simply means state the conclusion first and then follow it up with facts. If something's gone wrong, we definitely want you to acknowledge and express your regrets. If you need any assistance with that, please let me know. If the reporter gets something wrong, please let me know if you'd like me to intervene and help you get that correction done or that clarification done. I'm happy to help you do that. But I think it's important to give feedback to reporters all the time, good and bad. And I've worked with reporters my entire career, so I can tell you that it truly is a relationship, and you do develop relationships. But remember that feedback is important, whether it's positive or negative or a combination of the two. Obviously, try to use plain language. I know that's difficult, again, because your expertise in your areas. But as much as possible, explain legal terms, give examples. If you can't answer a question, just explain why. Most public relations counselors will tell you never to say no comment. So instead of saying no comment, instead you should say, I don't have that information, or I don't know the answer to that question. Certainly just be direct and honest in your dealings with the reporters. And again, you shouldn't be dealing with, unless you've got a particular controversy in your section, you shouldn't be dealing with issues that are going to cause reporters to try to back you into a corner or trick you into answering a question. But I'm always available, or someone on my staff is, to help if you feel like a reporter's being too aggressive, or if you feel that you want to reply to the reporter in writing. We're happy to help you craft that information as well. My advice, again, is always stay on the record. Don't do off the record. You can do background. Let me just explain to you how this came about. But don't expect ever not to be quoted. You should always be prepared to be quoted. The last thing I'd say is, and this, I usually sit in on interviews with the bar president, and all these years I've done this, including my prior work, I've never seen a reporter not at the end of an interview say, do you have anything else to add? Is there anything else you want to talk about? No. Unless there really is a burning issue, or you're very prepared to talk about and transition to another matter, it's mostly best to just say no, but I hope I'll hear from you again, or yes, I would like to talk to you about a program our section is doing with regard to this. Could we set up a phone call for that at another time? Again, making sure that you're comfortable with the information that you want to deliver and that it's prepared for you. I gave you some on-camera tips as well. I'll let you just read those if you go on television talk shows or cable shows. Just some tips about color and presentation on that. And then the final thing I comment on is what I talked about just a few minutes ago, which is follow-up. I think it's important to let the reporter know if they did a good job. Quick email. Doesn't have to be a phone call. Leave a voicemail. If the facts of the article are incorrect, ask for a correction or clarification. Be very clear with that as well. But remember that particularly in these days, reporters are general assignment reporters, so they have multiple types of things that they cover. They don't so much specialize any longer, except in the very large newspapers like the Herald, Miami Herald. So they're not going to be experts. They're going to rely on you to be the expert, and if they make a mistake, they absolutely should have it corrected. And then the other thing is, if you feel the article is one-sided or that it leaves out important information, I suggest you write a letter to the editor or an op-ed. And on the publication, newspapers, of course I'm talking about now, on the newspapers' websites, if you go to their opinion section, you should find instructions for letters to the editor and op-eds. Do follow those instructions. Some of them, for a letter to the editor, limit you to 150 words, some 250 words. If you can't get it out 250 words, shoot for a guest column, my view, some newspapers call it. Generally, it's called an op-ed, and those will often go up to as many as 700 to 800 words. And I'm happy to review or assist you in putting that type of information forth as well. was going to go over social media with you too. The bar has really come a long way in just the past 2 years with social media and with our bar social media and assistance to sections and committees with their social media. So all of the social media outlets that or platforms that are being used by any Florida bar entity now are available by just typing in floridabar.org/social media. If your section is not currently using social media, I highly recommend that, I highly recommend that you take a look at what others are doing. We also can't get this to go anywhere. There we go, let's try this again. We also can give you advice and tips on what to post and how frequently to post. Maybe it's because I'm all capping. It doesn't like all caps. But the best way to get started on social media is to look and see what others are doing. Whether it's the Florida Bar, what the Florida Bar is doing, what certain programs are doing, like the Leadership Academy has social media. We have quite a few committees with social media, and then sections and divisions. I think sections have found Facebook to be the most popular type of social media presence. I would also encourage you to look into LinkedIn and trying to get your members to engage in conversations and dialogue about issues that are of importance in your area of law. But this is a great way to go ahead and take a look at, go to this page /social media and take a look at what's being done and how it's being done. Now, the Florida Bar does provide a social media specialist to assist you and your program administrator in setting up social media. We also provide a public records archiving service. So because any communications of your section would be public record, the Big Bar itself provides an archiving service, a software program that we install into your social media platform. We're getting ready to change over to a different product. It's called GovQA. It's actually the product that the Big Bar, the entire bar, is using for public records requests and information. So that's very important because you don't want to have to, I'm sure, be concerned about a public records request and someone asking, you posted this a year ago, I want all the comments that were made to your post. That's all very easily pulled from the software and producible. So we're happy to be able to provide that service as well. The other thing I wanted to point out on the social media page is we have both the policies, you can see up in the right-hand corner, the policy and guidelines. The policy being pretty clear and easy for sections in that the sections are given basically carte blanche to use social media, but we do ask that you notify us so that we can provide whatever the current policy is and the guidelines for setting up, the guidelines for handling negative comments, which we've spelled out very clearly how that's best handled. guidelines for users and participants, and other guidelines and information as needed. We're also going to set up the archive, the Public Records Archive, as soon as you notify us that you want to use social media. And then we maintain the current list of all employee administrators, bar member administrators, user IDs and passwords, just in case. We keep that as a repository. And then finally, we definitely provide ongoing counsel for use of social media. In my department, we handle the Florida Bar President, and the Young Lawyers Division social media. And we also have expertise and participate in 6 different platforms, actually 7 with counting the YLD's Instagram account, which we're going to work really hard to try to get boosted up some this year. We are Facebook, Twitter, Google+, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Pinterest platforms are the primary platforms that we maintain. Pinterest is kind of fun. If any of you all like Pinterest, take a look at what we've got there, because, and if you have any ideas for us, please let us know. But we'd really like to help you with social media. The policy also talks about gives you cautions on political and legislative content, and gives you cautions about compliance with public records obligations, which we've virtually taken care of for you with the archive software. Amy Diaz, who spoke to you this morning, asked me also to let you know about some public education resources we have available regarding the Constitution Revision Commission. The Florida Bar joined a partnership for revising Florida's Constitution, which is being led by the Leroy Collins Institute over a year ago. And through that partnership and working with the Law Related Education Association, we developed a Citizen's Guide to the Constitution Revision Commission. And so the Citizen's Guide is available on the website. You are most welcome to link either to this page, which by the way is floridabar.org/CRC is your shortcut. You're welcome to link to the Citizen's Guide for any of your actually, member education is going to be very important in the bar's efforts this year, too, not just educating the public about the CRC process, but our members, because many, with it only occurring every 20 years, may not have engaged in it before. Then we also have the Citizen's Guide in Spanish, thanks to the Cuban American Bar Association. The guides themselves are printable and can be printed and distributed. If your section is interested in that, please let me know. If you want to put your section's name on a quantity, we can get the price for you. We use a very good and pretty inexpensive printer, and we just bill you directly. If you wanted to put your name and do some of your own education. And Amy, I believe, also mentioned to you that there's a benchmarks lesson now. So the benchmarks lessons, we have been doing benchmarks training, and we will continue to do benchmarks training on the lesson on the CRC at every bar meeting. So in October at the fall meeting, in January at the winter meeting, and there's always a session at convention as well. Training is also something that Annette Pitts, who's the executive director of the Law Related Education Association, is willing to come in and do for groups. So she's actually doing one of the programs that my department coordinates as a reporters workshop every year. We bring in 24 reporters from around the state who are either new to Florida or new to covering the courts and the legal system, or they're general assignment reporters, as I mentioned. And we'll actually be doing the benchmarks lesson with those reporters in September when they come for the reporters workshop. So we need to train reporters as well about what it is that the state of Florida does in terms of setting up a Constitution Revision Commission. I wanted to show you also some other resources if you're interested in helping. I thought the appellate practice section might be interested in helping with merit retention education, public education. The materials for that are at floridabar.org/the votes in your court. And I know it's supposed to be apostrophe S, but we don't do apostrophes on direct links. So on this page, again, love for you all to link it from your own web page. But this page has information including the Florida Bar's voter guide in English and in Spanish. The voter guide covers judicial state court elections as well, judicial elections for the state court, circuit and county elections, as well as merit retention. You can see we also have a series, we have some videos, we have voter resources, referral to authority and guidance regarding political activity by judges and campaigns. We connect with the League of Women Voters and their nonpartisan information. And we also have for all the appellate judges that are up for retention this year, we have photos and bios for all of them. So the information is there. We encourage any opportunity that you might have to be able to promote it and help these, help the public understand what it means to vote yes or no in a merit retention election and why judges are qualified and do what they do. So here's an example. Chief Judge Corey Sicklin, and it gives a brief biography, and then we link to the full biography. So that's also something you could that you could assist with, and I think that would be very positive for your section to educate your members, educate the public. Any opportunity that you have to put out this information would be appreciated. I'll also want to just point out under the voter resources, for the candidates for circuit and county court judgeships, the Judicial Administration and Evaluation Committee of the Florida Bar developed the Candidates Voluntary Self-Disclosure Statements program a few years ago. So we actually contact all candidates who are filed and qualified by the Division of Elections and give them the opportunity to provide this information, filling out a form that really is much like the JNC applications for judicial appointments. So the Judicial Administration Advisory Committee took that application. They very much included all the same information that would need to go to a JNC or to the governor's office for appointment, and then they also included a personal statement. These forms have grown in popularity since we first started offering the opportunity to do them, but the primary point is because many lawyers told the Judicial Administration Evaluation Committee, as well as the Constitutional Judiciary Committee, that their friends, their neighbors, their family, because I'm a lawyer, they want to know what I think and who should I vote for and how do I tell the difference between one candidate or another. So this information helps to provide them with good background, perhaps some comparisons, and could help your friends and family members, et cetera. So those voluntary candidate disclosure statements are helpful. They're voluntary, as I said, so not every candidate is in there, but every candidate has an opportunity to have one. We've put out a news release that this information is available. We'll keep pumping it through the media. We will keep promoting the opportunity to learn about the merit retention process, and then through that, the merit selection process with members of the public through Speakers Bureau activities and other types of outreach. So that's my little short talk. Can I answer any questions or assist anyone today? All right, thank you for the opportunity.
Can you talk a little bit about public records obligations?
Only insofar as the social media.
Okay.
So when you go to the social media policy on the website, you'll see an entire section that talks about compliance with Florida Bar public records obligations. And that basically falls under RJA 2.420, judicial branch records, but also that when the bar specific to records within a social networking site that meet the definition of a public record, which is material prepared in connection with official business intended to perpetuate, communicate, or formalize knowledge of some type, that information must be made available as public record. I'm not a public records expert, but I have been involved in at least one or two section matters where there have been requests for minutes from your section meetings, even your section committee meetings, minutes that were not yet approved, but were in draft form. If they were written and even in draft form, we have to make them available to requesters, not just reporters, but to requesters. The work of your sections and your work products all belong basically under the Florida Bar umbrella. So I would say consider something as being potentially public record rather than not, anytime you're doing anything in writing. So, but that's a good point, Kevin, because the family law section, who's here from family law? Yeah, did we talk about your situation? Did I talk to you about it?
Not for me directly, but actually all four of us are here. You've probably spoken to one of us.
Yes. So, surprise, somehow, even again before the chair knew that a request like this had taken place, the bar had to produce the materials. So, public records are part of our existence and part of our challenge. Yes?
Can you send out an email of the points of, for instance, the links that you thought would be good for our section websites?
Yes, I'd be happy to. I'll send that to Dixie and get her to turn it around. Yeah, thank you for doing that. Okay, thank you.